up, Cux? It's the hater back again. I just wanted to make a quick little video about a couple of things that I just read. Literally right now, a little pop-up came up in the bottom of my computer from Reddit Squared Circle, where I've been banned. Yeah. Since then, I've made another account, motherfucks. But it just gave me a little tidbit. It said Eddie Kingston has been signed to AEW. I think that's what it said. Let's look at it again, just in case. I think it was Eddie Kingston, right? Maybe it was Eddie Edwards. I doubt it. He's a champion. So let's just say it was Eddie Kingston up in this bitch, right? Eddie Kingston has been signed to AEW. Now, this just reminded me of two things. Number one, it reminded me of the last episode of Dynamite, where Cameron from the Funkadactyls appeared as as the partner for Nyla Rose in the whatever tag team invitational bullshit thing, right? And I remember Cucky Rhodes saying, he was like, this is back in the day, he was like, about 5% of the WWE roster would have a place in AEW, you know what I'm saying? And people heavily implied that the likes of Roman Reigns, and Cena wouldn't be signed by AEW, you know what I'm saying? But that obviously is 100% horseshit, because AEW has picked up every jobber that WWE has let go, They've picked up, and some of them aren't bad, you know what I'm saying? Some of them are like Jack Swagger, for example. He's a former heavyweight champion, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, he brings something to the table just by virtue of that, But the whole company is based, let's be real, the whole company is based around, we were able to get Jericho. That was the whole point of AEW. The whole point of AEW is finally, for the first time in history, right, a company is competing with WWE, except for, of course, the WCW days, but a company is competing, and they've been able to, quote unquote, let's be real, there's an asterisk next to it, they've been able to poach Chris Jericho. Everybody knows that WWE would easily bring back Jericho for a run or two, you know what I'm saying? There's no doubt about it, right? But they were able to get Jericho, Jericho chose to go with them. He didn't need to do that at all. He chose to start something new instead of going to WWE. That's the real draw here. Now, you dilute this when you sign people like Eddie Kingston and fucking Zack Ryder, you know what I'm saying? You make the claim that only 5% of WWE wrestlers would be welcome, that would basically have a spot in AEW. And come on. Cameron from the Funkadactyls, the person universally considered one of the worst wrestlers of all time. I never thought so myself, but people didn't like her, right? Cameron from the Funkadactyls has been signed, but Cena wouldn't have a spot? Have you fucking lost your mind? In what world is that anything but a bold-faced lie? You know what I'm saying? That's the problem with AEW, motherfucker. One of the problems, right? They signed Cameron, now they signed Eddie Kingston. Who the fuck cares? Last week we had Warhorse, or as we call him here, Borehorse. You know what I'm saying? You had Borehorse and all these other jabrones, these nobodies. They come in for 1 week, and then they I guess they go to AEW Dark maybe, or maybe they just go back to the indies, right? I recently learned that Joey Janela was performing at some other company. There's no exclusivity, right? And then JR is like, oh, Warhorse, he's made a big name for himself on the indies. And I'm like, motherfucker, this is the indies. He still is in the indies. It's just that these indies have a TV show, but it's run like the indies, right? The indies are all like this. There's a few guys who are the champions, right? Who are essentially exclusive to that company, right? And honestly, a lot of them aren't. Wasn't Kenny Omega the Mexico champion or the AAA champion? Whatever the fuck it's called, CMLL, whatever. One of those bullshit companies in Mexico. Wasn't he the champion for that one? While he was signed to AEW, right? This is no different than any other indie promotion. It's just more popular and has a TV deal. That's the only difference, right? It's run like an indie promotion. Let me tell you, let me point this out to you, motherfucks, right? If Randy Orton, who has signed a contract, if he goes to Vince and says, you know what, Vince, I'm now going to go wrestle for, I don't know, whatever, New Jersey Pro Wrestling, right? Vince is going to say, no, you're not, shut up, right? Or else you're fired, right? That's what he's going to say. He's like, no, you can't do that, motherfucker. You belong to me now. But Vince, I'm an independent contractor. Doesn't matter, motherfuckers. You sign an exclusivity deal. You only appear in my wrestling program, cuck, right? And that's kind of the idea, right? Whereas in AEW, all these people, what's the difference between Warhorse? Why is it more of an opportunity for Warhorse to be signed to AEW than it is to be signed to Maryland Championship Wrestling? You know what I'm saying? Why? Right? Doesn't matter, motherfuckers. As long, it's all about the pay, I guess. Probably AEW is going to pay him more, right? But it's not this huge jump. It's not this huge boost, right? You're on TV. Great. It's still a stepping stone. AEW is still a stepping stone. That's why virtually nobody, is like exclusively in AEW. You know what I mean? John Moxley is like the lower tier champion in Japan. He's like the US champion in Japan, right? All these motherfuckers are going to other places, right? Because they have no faith that AEW can pay the bills and that AEW is anything but a stepping stone. Do you think MJF, when he cuts a promo saying that I'm gonna revolutionize wrestling and I'm gonna be the face of this company for 25 years, do you think he really means that shit? No, motherfucks. He's like 23. He wants to stay here for 3 years and then get signed by WWE like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So that's why AEW, if there's anything true about that MJF promo, is that they need to stop being the alternative. Like, if you're actually gonna make this push, make this push. You're closer to being ROH than you are to being WWE, motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't matter if you sign Matt Cardona. Oh, Matt Cardona's here. He's about 7 times bigger than Kenny Omega. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I gotta say about that, cucks. You know? There you have it, motherfucks. You know what I mean? They sign people like Eddie Kingston, these people that have never been signed by anyone important, right? Have never been like Eddie Kingston is like the type of dude that would show up in like TNA when everyone left. Like when everyone in TNA left, they're like, all right, we don't have Kurt Angle, Steiner, Booker T, AJ, all these guys. We don't have Bully Ray. We don't have any of these guys anymore. So now we're going to have to push, I don't know, Magnus, right? We're going to push Magnus again, motherfuckers. And we're going to sign Eddie Kingston, right? And all these jobbers, you know what I mean? So that's what he is. And I mean, I don't hate the kid, you know what I'm saying? I think he's one of those pretend tough guys. He's like, oh yeah, I'm a tough guy. I'm from the streets. I was poor. Shut the fuck up. You're fat. I'm not impressed by you at all, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Same thing with Warhorse. This guy looks like a guy who just started going to the gym last week, you know? He's just some pudgy little shit. You know, I'd bitch slap Warhorse in his Borehorse. I'd bitch slap the face paint off of him, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I gotta say about that. And the truth is what the truth is, motherfuckers. It's that AEW keeps signing these people while also holding this position that they're that it's basically not everyone can make it in AEW, because that's what that means, right? If you say that 95% of the WWE roster is not good enough to make it to AEW, then what you're saying is AEW is going to hold itself out with some respect, right? AEW is going to be a place that's respectable, you know, where you're like, yo, man, this is AEW, we do things a little different around here. We're going to push certain people. We're going to do this. We're going to do that, right? So, but you can't simultaneously hold that view and then sign Cameron from the Funkadactyls. At this point, I honestly cannot think in the history of wrestling a worse signing. You know? Well, we've said Cameron for the Funkadactyls. This girl hasn't wrestled in 5 years anywhere, right? But that's all it takes. All it takes to go to AEW is, have you ever stepped foot in WWE in any capacity, right? Oh, you were the guy who fixed the lights in WWE? All right, you have a job here. You can be I don't know, a wrestler or some shit. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing going on, nothing good happening with this company, right? They keep pushing things Warhorse is here. I don't give a fuck. Nobody gives a shit about Warhorse. You know what I'm saying? He's here to rule ass. Sorry, to rule ass, as Justin Roberts says. So that's what I gotta say about that, motherfuckers. It's something that's just embarrassing and cringy at this point. You know, there's no consistency. Like I said in my last video, there's no consistency in this entire company. I mean, you know, we're obviously not gonna see Warhorse, right? But I bet you the overlap between this week's episode of AEW and next week's episode of AEW is going to be 5%. It's going to be 5 people, right, of the entire roster are going to be on both shows, and then everyone else is going to be new people. They're going to be oh, here's the debut of Priscilla Williams. Oh, Priscilla Williams. She's the most prestigious, the most sought after prospect in the Indies, you know. And then they're going to be oh, here's you know, Jeff Slice. Here's Jeff Slice, motherfuckers. Jeff Slice, oh, the #1 prospect in the Indies. Oh, Warhorse has been tearing it up in the Indies. You'd think every one of these motherfuckers was the John Cena of the Indies. Oh, Ricky Starks, isn't he handsome? No, motherfuckers, he ain't. He sucks ass, by the way. What do you think of them apples, motherfuckers? So anyways, it's another video of just kind of pretty much hating on AEW, only because I got the little notification just telling me that, oh, Eddie Kingston has been signed. I should probably go find that. Let's go. I'll do it later because I don't want to make people wait here while you watch my video. But I'm going to go and look to what people are going to say about the signing of Eddie Kingston. I'm going to go to Reddit Squared Circle and look at that oh, Eddie Kingston has been signed. I bet you everyone's going to be oh, Eddie Kingston, he's so overrated. He's so underrated. Eddie Kingston is like, he should be a WWE champion by now. I can't believe that no one's giving this guy a chance. I bet you like that's gonna be like the general talk around it, right? Oh, what a great promo he got against Cody. You know what I mean? What the fuck is this shit, man? Like, I bet you in the next few hours, if not the next few days, but if not the next few hours, I wouldn't be surprised if like the next Reddit thing that pops up is, oh, AEW has signed Warhorse. Warhorse, this guy is the future of wrestling. This guy will never make it, motherfuckers. He reminds me of S.A. Rios, and not in a good way. You know what I'm saying? All right, cunts, I'll see you guys later, motherfuckers.